Lost on the High Seas, a serialized gay romance taking place aboard the ocean liner the Majestic Star. Follow along as I bring everyone on an epic Southern Sea adventure with love, laughter, and possible destruction. Penned by Riley Mason, narrated by me, Brian Shepard. Episode 4, Ice. While Ben was in the grand music room, Joey was on the bridge. It seemed like he lived on the bridge, as the new course had him worried. Ice. It's all he thought about, as he knew his ship was not designed for this type of trip. Joey always wondered why the company just didn't use the seas or the sun, as they were more suited for this. Speaking of the majestic seas, a ship which was to be handed over to Joey as the Star was to be placed in dry dock for repairs, upgrades, and like the Sun, was to receive updated furniture throughout the ship, including cabins and staterooms. That plan was squashed as good old Johnny figured the seas was not ready and too big for the trip. Joey remembered when he and Johnny went at it while attending via Zoom. "Captain Webb, do you agree with this change?" one of the board members asked, which started it all. Joey knew it was wrong to use the Star. It needed to be put up in dry dock for repairs, not traveling the Southern Sea. "No, I do not. The Star is not equipped for this type of sailing, especially not to the Southern Sea. The plan should continue without delay. Wouldn't the seas or the sun make more sense?" As if Joey said the wrong thing, Johnny's head snapped towards Joey. For those who don't know, Johnny is Joey's ex. He is an ex for a reason, and a good one at that. Quite frankly, he is a major douchebag. The seas is not ready, and she's too big for such a small journey, and it would be a waste of money. The sun has already begun its upgrades and repairs, so that leaves your ship. I was supposed to transfer to the seas. Is that not happening as well? Johnny, this is going to ruin the maintenance schedule here at port, as it won't be for another 4 months before we'll be able to schedule again. He is right, you know, Captain Moore said, as he seemed to be the knife cutting into the tension that was playing out in front of everyone. Not sure if it helped. "I've made my decision. If you don't like it, Captain, we can always find someone else." "Oh, and, say hello to Chance for me," he said as he ended the call. That was that. It seemed to Joey that Johnny just didn't care. Again, dollar signs is all he cared about. Now, Joey wishes he had fought harder in the meeting and insisted that they chose a different ship for this journey. In roughly 24 hours, the Star will have reached the border of the safety zone, and if everything goes smoothly with the wedding, they can then kick waves and start the return trip. Passengers still moped around the inside of the ship as weather seemed to not want to improve, yet only worsened. The ship was rocking side to side, which had medical bay filling up with the sick and nauseous. Ben decided to limit the number of live shows, reducing the amount of foot traffic throughout the ship. After stepping out of the music room, as preparations for the wedding were just about complete, now that there was more time for the crew to redecorate, Ben decided to check in with Cecilia Harper, as he heard through Stephanie, a waitress, that she was on the warpath and not in a very good mood. "That's it. I've had enough," Cecilia yelled as she made her way over to the trash, throwing out what Ben thought to be a broken plate. "Is it that bad you've resorted to breaking the dishes?" Ben asked, looking a bit confused. Before she had the chance to respond, the ship decided to list to port, sending plates and glasses off the tables, smashing as they hit the floor. Meanwhile, passengers started arriving for lunch. You see, we can't keep anything on the tables. We have lost at least 15 plates, and I don't know how many glasses. What am I supposed to serve that won't fly into their laps if this old gal decided to do that all night? That would be 10 glasses. Stephanie cut in. I'm not sure. I'm sure you have something up your sleeve. Well, you were planning on making sandwiches. Why not just do finger sandwiches? Stephanie, again cutting in. Simple and easy. You can always offer meals to be sent to their cabins if they don't feel comfortable moving about the ship. Nice one, Steph. Okay, Miss Smarty Pants, let's whip this up. In the meantime, we need to get the others to secure the rest of my dishes before we start eating out of our hands, Cecilia said as she began to make the sandwiches, while the rest started to place the dishes back into the secure cabinet. Problem solved. Ben then retreated from the kitchen. Next stop was hospitality. Ben had only a few more steps before hitting the door, which would lead him down to Deck A, if it was not for the sound of his name being called at the other end of the corridor. Turning around, Ben notices Anita walking towards him, smiling as usual, a smile which everyone knows means she's up to no good. Oh, my dear, this weather is for the birds, I tell ya. I don't think I've sailed in such rough seas before. Just be careful, Anita, as I don't need you ending up in medical because you've lost your footing. If you're going to be moving about, please use the handrails, he said as he pointed to the rails attached to both sides of the corridor. Oh, I'll be fine. I was just on my way to speak with that nice lady in housekeeping, as I'm in need of some towels. For some reason, I only found one. A hand towel to boot. This would never happen aboard the Coral, shaking her head as she finally reached him. As much as he would love to stand and chat with her, he had other tasks that needed to be completed. Seemed like a good idea to skip Heather, as she might be tied up with Anita, and move on to Barbara. Sounded like a good plan. That is, until Chance came down the corridor. Ah, Ben, there you are. Listen, do we know why the internet is not working? I was trying to check my emails and it says no connection. I thought I did something wrong, but I'm a tech by trade. Ben, come in, he heard over the radio, placing Chance here on a brief hold. Ben here, go ahead. We seem to have lost communications. Please report to the bridge. Yes, Captain, on my way. Turning back to Anita and Chance, who stood there, baffled. I suggest staying in your cabin for now. I have a feeling it's going to get bumpy. I can have Heather send Morgan up with some fresh towels. Oh, thank you, Ben. Well, Chance, seems you got your answer, she said, placing her hand on Chance's arm as the ship decided again to list heavily to port. All right, I'm going. I don't need to be thrashed around like a rag doll. Turning and making her way back to her cabin with Chance in tow. As Ben stepped onto the bridge, all he could see were angry dark clouds mixed with wind in with snow, and a lot of it. The bow looked like someone had stripped away all the color, as the snow simply glistened. Lights from the ship made the ice shimmer like it was adorned with diamonds. To some, that would sound amazing and, oh, so picturesque. Not to Chief Wilton. The sight alone was causing alarms to go off in his head. To him, this screams disaster. His explanation: the weather is causing a lot of sea spray. It would also explain why communications were down. Sea spray icing is a serious hazard for marine operations. Many ships and lives have been lost when ships sank or became disabled after the accretion of ice on decks and superstructures. Large amounts of ice can raise the center of mass on a ship just enough to result in a catastrophic loss of stability, which is the main concern. The ship would become unstable. Capsizing, extreme rolling and or pitching, and topside flooding can occur as a result of the loss of stability and extra weight from the ice. This is particularly dangerous for smaller ships such as fishing vessels and number 4 on the list, cruise ships, which is why Chief Wilton is very worried. The reason is clear. I have already instructed my men to rotate and remove the snow and ice from the decks, railings, and other prone to spray. I also recommend the topside be off limits, Burton finished. Yet Joey could see the worried look in his eyes. Good work. This storm has changed course, so it should not be too long until it passes. As suggested, we will keep passengers inside the ship. I don't see that being an issue, as most are already staying in. The temperature is reading negative 15 degrees. Are we still on for that rehearsal dinner tonight, though? Joey asked as he looked up to Ben. Yes, sir. As far as I know, everything is set and ready. Let's just hope it stays a happy occasion, Brian said, looking perplexed. Oh, I can just imagine the conversations happening in each cabin as everyone prepares to sit once again at the same table. I'm sure Jordan is already giving Brian a speech about not saying a word, as I'm sure that Fifi woman will be in attendance just to make Brian's blood boil. I would hate to see who ends up sitting next to her. Watch, it'll be me. I'm sure everything will be fine. Rivalry, banter, and a dash of Anita. Yeah, I think we're fine, Ben finished, as was finished with the bridge now that everyone had checked in with Joey. The plan was to maintain heading, keeping the bow slicing through the waves as to reduce the rolling and pitching. As the second watch came onto the bridge, Joey and Ben could now make their way back to their cabins and get ready. Joey was sure that as soon as he walked in, Chance would already have what to wear out and ready. All he needed to do was strip and head into the shower. As guests began to slowly arrive, as the ship was steady, for now, Brian and Jordan, led by the 2-man security team, were first to arrive, followed by Anita, Jack and Christopher, Eric, Justin, along with Ben. Joey and Chance were thought to be last, yet everyone noticed backstabber Sophia Patel was not in attendance. Must we wait? I'm famished and I could use a drink, Brian whispered to Jordan, who just simply smiled and nodded. By the time the salad plates were taken away, no one had noticed that the lion no-good snake was still not present. This is not like Fifi to miss such an occasion, one where she would be able to one-up her opponent. Now it seemed to bother Brian that she was not here. Ew, why? Or did it have to do with the fact that her assistant, Doobie, was sitting at the table playing with his breadsticks? So, where is she? Hey everyone, Rylan here. Just a quick reminder that you can find more information about me and the stories I write by going to my Facebook at facebook.com/author.r.mason. From there, you can find updates, follow me on Instagram, talk to me, and more. Thank you for taking the time to listen and for the support. An R. Mason Media Production. Copyright 2022.